Donut Media made arguably one of the best series on YouTube, and the content was so good that it's literally impossible for them to make anymore. And today, my friends, we break down what made this series so special. One of the hardest parts about breaking down the series is if you go to Donut Media's channel, you're going to find that the very last episode was nearly 4 years ago. And we are of course talking about the infamous Up to Speed series. So you might be asking yourself, what made this series so special compared to all their other ones? Well, other than the fact that it has become a big hit among car fan and car reviewers alike, the show has changed how people learn about cars online. So let's dive deeper into why this show stands out from other car shows and what makes it so popular. First of all is the host, James Pumphrey. He's not your typical car host. James is super excited about cars, and it shows in every single episode. His love for cars is clear and contagious. Even when he's talking about a car that might seem boring to people, James just finds a way to make it interesting. What makes James so special is how he talks about the cars. He doesn't just read from a script. Instead, he shares this genuine excitement and passion. And what makes viewers feel like they're learning from a friend who really loves cars, not just watching a TV show. James' energy and enthusiasm are a big reason why people keep coming back to watch more episodes. Well, at least they used to. Another huge feature is the show's format. The way Up to Speed is set up is really unique. Each episode focuses on one specific car, brand, or car-related topic, but it doesn't just tell you what the car is, instead it tells you the whole story of the car. For example, in this episode about the Ford Mustang, it doesn't just say the Ford Mustang is a famous American car. Instead, it tells you why Ford decided to make the Mustang, how they designed it, what problems they faced, and how the car was changed over many years. This complete story helps viewers understand not just what the car is, but why it matters in the world of cars. This way of telling stories is great because it helps people connect with the car. It's not just about the engine sizes and top speeds. It's all about the people who made the cars, the times they were made in, and why people loved or sometimes hated these cars. This deeper look really helps viewers appreciate each car's place in history. Up next is the show's humor and entertainment.
They listen, and sometimes that's all it takes to make a huge impact. Dad?
Listen, the show's funny, but so are many other shows, right? Well, yes, but in terms of car shows other than Top Gear, many of them are pretty boring if you're not already a big car fan. They might use a lot of technical terms and talk about things in a very serious way, but Up to Speed is just different. The show added jokes and funny moments throughout each episode. Sometimes it's James making a silly face or doing a funny voice. Other times it's clever editing and funny graphics that pop up on the screen. This humor does more than just make people laugh. It keeps viewers interested, even when the show is talking about more complex car stuff. The mix of facts and fun is really important. It means that even if you don't understand everything about the car and how the engine works, you still enjoy the show. And while you're laughing, you're also learning. This approach helps explain hard car concepts in a way that's easier to understand and remember. Next is the visual style and production quality. Another big part of what makes Up to Speed so special is how it looks. The show doesn't just use one kind of video. Instead, it mixes it up using different types of visuals to keep things interesting. Sometimes they use old videos for when a car was first made. It helps the viewers to see what things were really like back then. They also use new video clips, often of the car driving around today. This shows how these old cars are still important and loved. But what really makes the show stand out are the graphics they use. They create cool animations and visual effects to explain how things work. For example, if they're talking about how an engine works, they might show an animated diagram that makes it easier to understand. These graphics help break down complex information into parts that are easier to get. All of the different visuals keep viewers interested. It's not just a person talking to a camera for 15 minutes. Instead, there's always something new to look at, which helps keep people learning and watching. And one of our last topics is the appeal to different audiences. One of the coolest parts about Up to Speed is how it's great for both big car fans and people who don't know much about cars. This is pretty rare for a car show, as I mentioned earlier. For serious car enthusiasts, the show dives into detailed information about engines, design choices, and a car's history. This level of detail satisfies viewers who already know a lot about cars and want to learn even more. But at the same time, the show explains things in a much easier way that beginners can understand. It doesn't assume that everybody watching knows all about cars. When it uses all technical terms, it usually explains what it means. This makes the show accessible to people who are just starting to get interested into cars, which honestly helped me a lot. Whether you've been a car fan for years or you're just starting to get interested, there's something in Up to Speed for you. Now, our second to last key is a little different. It's the show's growth. It's interesting to look at how Up to Speed has grown over time. The show didn't start out as a big production. In fact, it began in 2016 with a simple video that shared 9 facts about the Nissan 240SX. This wasn't even officially part of the Up to Speed series yet, and it hadn't been created yet. The real Up to Speed started in 2017 with a video about a Nissan Skyline. From there, it grew into the full show we know today. This slow growth was actually a good thing. It gave the people making the show time to figure out what worked best. They could see what viewers liked and didn't like, and made the show even better over time. This process helped build a loyal group of fans. People who watched from the very beginning could see how the show's improved, and with each new comment coming in, they felt like they were part of its growth. New viewers could jump in at any time and enjoy the published format. And finally, our last point is nostalgia and car culture. Finally, Up to Speed taps into something that many car fans love: nostalgia. The show often covers famous cars from different times in history. This isn't just about sharing facts, it's about bringing back old memories for the viewers. cars. For older viewers, episodes about the cars from the 60s, 70s, or 80s might remind them of cars that they had when they were younger. For younger viewers, episodes about the classic cars help them understand why these old vehicles are still loved today. But it's not just about old cars. The show also covers newer cars and how they relate to older models. This helps connect the past and present of the car culture. It shows how the cars designed and the technology have changed over time, but it also shows how some things stay the same. By doing this, Up to Speed doesn't just talk about the mechanic parts of the car, it also explores why people love the cars so much. And that's why you see a lot of old heads drive these old cars. It just makes sense when you watch these videos. It looks at how cars have affected culture, movies, music, and more. Just to give you guys some examples, James Bond would be the Aston Martin DB5, obviously the DeLorean from the Back to the Future series. Another one is a 1970s Dodge Charger in the Fast and the Furious, and for example for a newer one, the 2008 Audi R8 in Iron Man. And what the show does really good is show the viewers that cars are more than just machines. It seems many people in our society today think cars are just simply machines that can be thrown out, but if people put a lot of effort and time into it, it really is a part of them almost. Especially if you ever get a chance to go to a car show and just talk to an older gentleman with a car, you could really tell how that car's been a part of his life for basically the entire thing. In the end, Up to Speed has changed how people learn about cars online. With its funny hosts, complete stories, jokes, good production, and appeal to many viewers, it's created a new and more interesting way to explore the cars. In my opinion, it does everything perfectly. You get to not only read the subtitles, watch the video visually, and you get to hear it, which beats out other methods like reading, and perhaps just word of mouth. The show's success proves that people want more than just the facts and the numbers about cars. They want to hear the stories behind the cars, they want to hear the why. They want us to feel the excitement that makes cars so important to so many people. And Up to Speed delivers on all of this in a package that's fun, informative, and really easy to watch. Whether you're a longtime car enthusiast or someone who's just starting to get interested into cars, Up to Speed is something for you. It's a show that entertains, educates, and celebrates the world of cars, and it's truly special. So, what do you guys think? Do you think the Up to the Speed series is one of the best Donut has to offer? Personally, I think it's one of the best series on YouTube as it educates such a large group of people. But then again, I am interested in cars, so there's a little bias there. But before I let you guys go, I want to hear your favorite Up to Speed. I'm going to put my top 5 at the very end of the video, just so you guys can rank them. Or maybe you think Up to the Speed series is just a bad series overall. But honestly, if you watch this far, you probably liked it. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe. But that's all for this one. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.
It's fast, it's black, and just like my dad, it only stuck around for 3 years. It's one of my favorite cars. It's the Buick Grand National. You guys have been begging for this one, so a billion of you better watch it. It was Japan's first supercar. The El Camino has been accused of being the mullet of cars for too long. Ah, hilarious, get it? It's a sedan in the front and a truck in the back. It's like a mullet. I bet you haven't heard that one before. You know what, pal? The El Camino is truly one. It's the car that saved Pontiac from the grave and introduced baby boomers to the open road. This 3-letter legend hailed the beginning of the muscle car era. Why don't people still talk about this thing? It's the often overlooked sports coupe meant to do battle with the Toyota Celica. There was an SI. There was a 4-wheel steering.